Hello, and welcome back to the ARK of E podcast. My name is Noah,
And my name is Gavin.
and we're the Blanchard brothers connecting over Zoom. Only the second time we've ever done this.
I know.
First time not with the more technically savvy brothers Blanchard, who use Zoom in a professional setting pretty regularly and are trained in. Luckily, we didn't have to bring them in. You figured it out. But for a bit, you were like, all I see is a white screen. And I was like, I don't know how to help with that. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, I mean, we've mastered this. The only thing I don't know if we're going to be able to master is the animals that live with both of us. You mentioned cats. I have a little dog.
Luckily, I have a door, but apparently that's not an option for you.
I do, but you might have heard it on the Justice League one. I had it shut, and there was like one or two times where they made noise, but it was kind of far off. It's semi-shut, but one of them may just kind of barge in here, and they won't make any sounds. I figured if I left it shut, they would bark, so I'm gonna leave it open and see if they try to nudge their way in. But
it's true.
It's too distracting.
We'll see what happens. We're here, as we mentioned at the end of the previous episode, which hopefully you joined us for. We're gonna finish that conversation, which was what we've been watching, because Gavin had a ton. It had been a while since we recorded. It's been even longer now, so I'm sure you have even more.
Yes.
But the big thing, it is Sunday night when we're recording this. It's going to turn into Monday morning while we're recording this. But we got to talk about Oscars, because the Oscars are a week away.
Yes.
And we got to get in I say annual predictions. I think we've only done this one previous year. I know we did it for last year's, but I don't think we did the whole predictions. We did wrap-ups of previous Oscars, but I don't think we did our prediction episodes.
Right, because you mentioned you had some other thing you were going to add to it, right? This go round.
Oh yeah, as we talk through it,
okay.
I'm gonna give my like sixth man or woman nominees in pretty much every category, where I'm like, hey, but you also could have nominated this, or here's something to think about, or here's something else to shout out that's not getting the extra love in award season. So I don't know if you did that for the categories or not, but we'll figure that out.
I'm pretty sure I could think of one.
I feel like maybe we did 2 years, but I think I definitely won last year. So if we're keeping track of that. But yeah, Gavin's going to be the scribe as usual for this. I'm going to run through the categories, and he's going to keep. So I'm trusting him to actually write down what I say. But at least we have this this record of the podcast for what my picks were. So
you may be able to pick up the actual pen to paper. I don't know. Depends on how good Zoom is.
We'll see. Yes. Okay. So I guess we should just dive right in.
Yeah.
If you're ready. This is the 2021 Oscar season. So we're talking about 2020 movies, and I think the few 2021 ones snuck in there. No, I don't know. There was that extended window. I don't know if that paid off for anybody. We'll talk about that as we go through. But
maybe.
Yeah, we're on the Academy's official website list of nominees, and I'm going from the bottom to the top. I don't know if this is going to be reflective of the night. Probably it won't, but that's the order we're going to do. So we are actually starting with Best International Feature. The nominees include Another Round, which I know is from Denmark, Better Days, which I am not sure where it is from, possibly China, maybe Japan. Cannot tell from the poster. We have Collective, also not sure where that's from. Quo Vadis Ada, which I'm assuming is Spanish language. And then The Man Who Sold His Skin. I have no awareness of any of these nominees outside of Another Round, which is the only one I've seen, which is one of my favorite movies in recent memory. And notably, Thomas Vinterberg is nominated as director. So that is both my pick for who I think will win and also who I want to win. So Another Round is what I'm going with.
I agree. I have no idea what these other movies are.
That should be the smart money is definitely on Another Round. Can't go wrong there. Up next, we got Best Live Action Short Film. These are basically blind buys. You know, this is where things could get shaken up a bit. So, going off of the titles alone, I don't know if you have the posters in front of you. We have Feeling Through, The Letter Room, The Present, Two Distant Strangers, which is the only one I have any awareness of, and White Eye. I am going with Two Distant Strangers.
I'm gonna go with the present.
Okay. And Two Distant Strangers is available on Netflix, if I'm not mistaken.
Hmm.
Uh, I need to actually watch that one. And I think all of the shorts, as usual, are available on the Oscars website to watch in advance. I know they do that for animated. I think they do it for the live action as well.
Well,
Speaking of
that's good.
animated, so you got my pick, Two Distant Strangers, and you went with the present, correct?
Right.
Okay. Moving on to animated. Again, no awareness of any of these. We have Burrow, Genius Loki or Loki. If anything happens, I love you. Opera and Yes People.
What are you going with?
Give me If Anything Happens, I Love You, I guess.
I'm gonna go with opera.
Okay. Animated feature. Got Shaun of the Sheep from I'm not sure the name of the studio. That's the Wallace and Gromit adjacent people, I think, though, right? British
Right.
studio. Got
I believe so.
Onward from Pixar, which premiered on Disney Plus. We got Over the Moon, which I think was a Netflix animated. And then we have Soul, also Pixar, and also straight to Disney Plus. And finally, Wolf Walkers, which was on Apple TV. And that is from Cartoon Saloon, The Secret of Kells, and Song of the Sea People.
Oh,
I'm going with Soul here.
same here.
That's what I think will win. That's what I want to win, but I did love Wolfwalkers as well. Would not be upset if it pulls the upset and wins. But I think it's between those two. All right. Short subject documentary. A concerto is a conference. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. This is also what happened because you made me wait an extra hour. I'm like 3 beers deep now, dude.
There
This
we
is
go. That's how it
I don't
should be
think
every
I don't
time.
think we've ever recorded this way. Okay.
Yeah.
I kept thinking, oh, I'll crack one because he'll be ready to go in a minute, and I'll already be nice and loosey goosey for the Oscar predictions because we're
Well,
just
now,
having fun here.
yeah, you're extra now. You're good to go.
Okay, so let's try that one more time. A concerto is a conversation. Okay, a
Okay.
love song for Latasha looks like that's available on Netflix. Colette, Do Not Split, and Hunger Ward.
Hmm.
I'm going to go with a love song for Latasha, just simply based on the fact that it's on Netflix and has more exposure. So maybe more people saw it if they didn't bother with their Academy screeners, etc.
I'm gonna go with Hunger Ward.
Okay.
Oh,
I like
purely,
that. I like that we got different picks across most of the ones we don't know because that's where it's going to get fun. That's where it'll get
Mhm.
interesting. All right. Now we are moving into excuse me, documentary feature. How dare I? Uh, we have
Mhm.
we have Collective, which is that a double nominee in hold on a second. That is a double nominee from International Feature as well.
Huh.
So I don't know if that's more notable for its chances in this category um, or not. But we also have Crip Camp, which I think is available on Netflix. My Octopus Teacher, which I know is available on Netflix. The Mole Agent and Time, which is on available on Amazon Prime.
Hmm.
I have yet to catch up with Time. I hear it's incredible. Uh, I think I'm going to put that as my pick for what I think will win. But my personal pick, based on what I've seen, I go My Octopus Teacher, which I thought was phenomenal.
Hmm.
But there also hasn't been like a big nature doc at the Oscars. So I may be screwing up there by not just straight up giving it to My Octopus Teacher, but I'm going to go with Time.
Okay.
Okay. What are you going with?
Crip Camp.
Also a solid pick because I've heard great things about that as well. Did you see My Octopus Teacher? Did we talk about it?
I don't think so.
I definitely mentioned it on what I've been watching. It's great, dude. Check it out. It's on Netflix, but guy who gets into like deep sea, like cold water diving and shit, just as like a hobby, basically like forms a relationship with an octopus that like lasts for almost a full year. It's pretty incredible. It's great. It's heartwarming and upsetting at times, but ultimately very hopeful and awesome and great. And the footage he got is pretty astounding. You should check it out.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry, I'm boring you. Let's move into the closer to the big guns. Okay, we're into visual effects. Best
Yes.
achievement of visual effects. We got Love and Monsters, which kind of a surprise nominee, honestly. I know that was pretty much just I think that was straight to VOD or maybe got a small theatrical. I also have Mulan, Tenet, The Midnight Sky, and the one and only Ivan. I'm going to go with Tenet simply
Me
because
too.
it's one of its few nominations, and I just feel like it's kind of a gimme, even though I don't know. It's not, it's the impressiveness there is like the practical effects, and I don't know where the line gets drawn on visual effects. If we're specifically talking about, well, we don't have to debate that. Anyways, we're both going with Tenet. We
Yep.
can move along. Okay. I don't want to bore you. I don't want to keep you here too long. Okay. We got original song up next. The nominees are Husavik from Eurovision Song Contest, The Story of Fire Saga. We've got Fight for You from Judas and the Black Messiah, Speak Now from One Night in Miami, Low C from The Life Ahead, and Hear My Voice from The Trial of the Chicago Seven. What you going with? I'm going to let you pick first.
I've got to go with Husavik from Eurovision Song Contest, Story of Fire and Saga.
Here's the thing. I don't know how much about how the award ceremony is going down this year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we're going to have like live performances, but that would be what I would lean towards because like on the night, that's the one that like is going to have people having a good time as opposed to these other ones that I have really no awareness of. I think they're all pretty much credit songs
Right.
for each of these. Uh, but I also feel like maybe the Eurovision nomination is just like a fun, hey, we can be funny too, but it's not actually going to get the win.
Hmm.
So I don't know, but these other ones, I'm like hard pressed to decide. I think I will go with Speak Now from One Night in Miami simply because Leslie Odom Jr. is on it, and that would be probably the one way that that movie gets honored that evening. And Leslie Odom Jr., of course, very famous from Hamilton and several other Broadway efforts. So that's what I'm going to go with. Speak Now. So you got Husavik. I hope you're right, brother. I think that would be a really fun win, but
I believe so. I think it
I
would be
don't
pretty
know.
too.
All right. We got original score. Our cousin from Another Mother, Terrence Blanchard for The Five Bloods. Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross for Mank. Emil Mosseri for Minari. James Newton Howard for News of the World. And Trent Reznor, Atticus Ross, and John Baptiste for Soul, which is what I'm going with. You would think they'd split the vote. They've been double nominees in almost every precursor awards, and they've almost always won for Soul, even though I actually think the Mank score is more impressive for sounding like it could have just come out of that time period. Like it could have been the score for any movie from that era.
Yeah, I could see that.
But I'm going with Soul, and I think that is what will win. And it's also like, well, hey, you get to honor them and John Baptiste contribution as well if you do the Soul win. So you get three winners instead of just two.
Right.
So I think that's what'll win. Dude, Terrence Blanchard has got to get an Oscar at some point. He's done incredible work, mostly with Spike, but like the 25th hour score, he should have won for that 100%.
I mean, that's who I would, who I'm going for.
You're going for Terrence Blanchard and Five Bloods.
Yeah.
Also, it's
Yeah.
like a lone nomination, so that would be lovely if that happened. But I'm going with the smart money. And again, like I said, I prefer the Mank score. I think the Five Blood score is amazing. I think the Minari score is amazing, and I haven't seen News of the World, so all good nominees this year. On to makeup and hairstyling. We have Emma, Hillbilly Elegy, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Mank, and Pinocchio.
Who is in Pinocchio?
That is the so Roberto Benigni is
Of,
definitely in it,
of
but it's
course.
like I feel like he played Pinocchio back in the day, and now he's Geppetto or something.
Oh, okay.
It's like, yeah,
It's like
is that what you're going with?
no, no, no. I'm going with for makeup and hairstyling. I'm going with Ma Rainey's Black Bottom.
Me too, brother. Very smart
Oh,
pick. I think it's gonna win. It should. The transformation of Viola Davis in particular, like I know she personally put on weight for it, but the actual like actually making her look like Ma Rainey and all the actors for that matter, like nailing that period look,
oh yeah.
great stuff. So I think that will win. Really hope it's not Hillbilly Elegy. It's like we made Glenn Close look like a Southern person. Like great on us, I guess. Okay. All right. So we agreed on that one. Best sound. This is the first year, if I'm not mistaken, we took away mixing and editing and we just put it all together. So it's just one category, simplify it for people. We got Greyhound, Mank, News of the World, Soul, and my pick, and I'm sure yours as well,
Yes,
Sound
sir.
of Metal.
Yep.
If Sound of Metal does not win the sound category, I truly don't know what to make of the technical Oscars. I would not understand that move at all. Achievement in costume design, we have Emma once again, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Mank, Mulan, and Pinocchio once again. So do you think they'll split here, or do you think they'll double up with makeup and hairstyling?
Mm, I don't know because I feel like Mulan was a big deal, and I feel like probably there was a lot made of the costuming there, and you could just as easily give it to Mank with it being a period piece and it all in black and white, and everybody looking like they, just stepped off the lot at MGM or something. So I have no idea where I would want to go. Um,
Got to make a call, brother.
I'm
It's
gonna
a
go with
tough
Mulan.
decision.
Go with
Mulan.
Mulan.
I'm going to go with Emma. When in doubt, pick the period piece. The
And there's like three of them on here. So what are you gonna do?
but pick the most European of the
Oh, okay.
period pieces
I
when in
got you.
doubt. I'm just saying. People hated Marie Antoinette. Masterpiece, in my opinion, but it still won the costume Oscar because they were like, well, this is undeniable. Like, this looks incredible.
Okay.
Anyways, so yeah, when in doubt, go with the European period piece. I'm going with Emma for sure. Okay, production design. Ma Rainey, once again, a lot of nominations. I don't think I actually paid attention to how many nominations they got, which is great. Good movie. Very good movie. Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Mank, News of the World. Once again, I guess I need to watch News of the World.
Yeah,
Maybe.
sounds
I
like
don't
it.
know. Tenet and The Father.
Mm,
This is where I go with Mank for the first time.
I was gonna say I have to think. I think I'd have to go with Meg just because of what it is and when it is. I think you got to go with that for yeah. I'm gonna go with Meg.
All right. Achievement in film editing. Alan Baumgarten for The Trial of Chicago 7, Chloe Zhao for Nomadland, Friedrich Thorvall for Promising Young Woman, Mikael E.G. Nielsen for Sound of Metal, and Yorgos Lamprimos, so excuse me, for The Father.
I'm gonna go Nomadland.
I think that's the safe bet, and that's what I'm going to tell you to put down for me as well. Um, having not seen it, but from vaguely what I know, I feel like The Father might be like a stealth contender in there because I know it's about dementia, and I think the way it depicts it is probably
Mm-hmm.
the editing is integral to that. Um, so I feel like that one could sneak in there, but I think it's going to be a Nomadland centric night. So why not give Chloe Zhao this will be one of her 3 Oscars this evening, I think. So yeah, I think that's where they're going to go. Would not be mad about it. That movie has a particular you and I mean, we'll get to best picture conversation, but you and I have yet to talk about Nomadland, so this is definitely the time to finally do that as well.
Yeah.
But we'll save that for when we get to the big guns. Okay. Cinematography.
Uh,
And you know what? Well, we're already kind of
I mean, I kind of feel like you would want to go Nomadland as well, just with the way it's shot and what it does and how it feels. But then I also think you could argue Mank because it feels like it's both an update to a classic type of movie back how we used to make movies, but then it is again, a David Fincher joint. So like
I think it's definitely between those two for sure.
I'm gonna go
Um,
Nomadland.
I'm also that's where my money is for sure. I think that's what's gonna win. And I'm also realizing that like I said I was going to do my 6 man nominees, and we're kind of now getting into the territory where I actually have those for the categories. Obviously, for short
Right.
subject and stuff, I wasn't like, oh, well, this as well. Um, but in cinematography, I'm kind of shocked that there was not a Tenet nomination. I'll be honest, because that's the biggest compliment I can give that movie, which I was able to see on the big screen. Was it looked really, really good. It was incredibly
I
well
mean,
shot.
I would say the same thing about like Synchronic. I thought it was really,
Absolutely.
really well done when it comes to cinematography. Just
Another one that leaps to mind, though, and this is actually my true 6 man nominee, The Vast of Night, dude.
oh yeah,
Some
totally.
of those oneers that they pulled off, like
Mm-hmm.
that's astounding stuff. I
Yeah.
notable that they're throw that in visual effects as well. Like, I don't know. But yeah, okay, we can move along. Adapted screenplay. Borat subsequent movie film. I was gonna start to read how many writers are attached to that movie, but I'm just gonna pass because there's way too many to name.
Oh, here we go. Adapted. It's down at the bottom. They're doing it by writing. I was looking for
Yeah,
screen.
Chloe Zhao for Nomadland,
Wait, you said Borat,
subsequent movie film.
delivery of progenitus bride to American regime for make benefit. One.
Benefit One's glorious nation of Kazakhstan.
You have
Yeah,
to read the whole title now.
how dare I? I know. Uh, Chloe Zhao for Nomadland, Kemp Powers for One Night in Miami, I believe adapting his own play. Uh, Christopher Hampton and Florian Zeller for The Father, that's also adapted from a play, and Ramin Barani for The White Tiger. What do you think, man?
I'm going Borat, man.
I think I think that's honestly just that's them being cute with the nomination. Honestly, I think they're patting
And
themselves on the back just for nominating it. I don't
I
think it
think
will
it,
win though.
I don't think it'll win either, but I just like the idea that this thing that we didn't know about that just kind of showed up randomly as like hey, you got out of quarantine. Okay, here's a nice thing for you to watch on Amazon. I like the idea of that. So give it its due. This is the only nomination, I'm assuming.
I mean, it's nominated in other places. We already mentioned one or two, but yeah,
Oh, where was it? Where else was Borat
I thought
nominated?
we already. I thought I hit at least one category. No, I didn't. Never
I hadn't
mind.
seen it in any one of these I looked up.
Excuse me. It's got some one more nomination ahead that I'm aware of. Okay.
Okay.
Um. ah,
I know you're going to put Nomadland. It's fine.
yeah, I guess. I guess. And I know well because I've also heard obviously the novel is quite different than the movie in terms of the approach of the movie and the naturalistic dialogue. So I think it's an interesting work of adaptation from what I understand about it. And I also just don't know about again the father or One Night in Miami. It would be cool to see either of those, I suppose, because they're both play
Mhm.
adaptations. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Nomadland. My 6 man here, which is I'm still kind of shocked that it's not on here, but is I'm thinking of ending things. Like if you were not going to give it any
Oh
other
yeah.
nominations, how could you not give it adapted screenplay? He's arguably the most famous screenwriter of the last like 2 decades. But anyways,
Hey, knock it off. Okay, sorry.
Original screenplay, we have Will Burson, Shaka King, Kenneth Lucas, and Keith Lucas, the Lucas brothers, for Judas and the Black Messiah. Lee Isaac Chung for Minari. Emerald Fennell for Promising Young Woman. Darius Martyr, Abraham Martyr, and Derek France for Sound of Metal. And old Aaron Sorkin for The Trial of the Chicago Seven.
Mm,
I'm going to be bold here. I really hope this wins. This is my pick. And I hope it actually wins. Emerald Fennell for Promising Young Woman. I think this is probably its lone, if not two wins for the evening. That's what I'm going with. And that honestly is the energy of like the early to mid 2000s Oscars, which is like you have this big kind of like quote unquote indie or art house movie that kind of breaks through and it's like it's not going to win Best Picture, but you honor it with the screenplay.
hmm
And for true originality, obviously Judas and the Black Messiah, which would be my second pick because of the way that it takes historical fact and like melds it into an action thriller, is very impressive to me. Um, it is original in and of itself, but is working from some sort of source material. In the same case, here's what I'm worried about. I think Trial of the Chicago Seven is going to win. And that's another one where I'm like, I don't quite understand how it's original other than like, yes, you wrote it, but it's like you didn't have any book of reference for like this period of time and these characters. You know what I'm saying?
hmm
I don't, I don't know, but I think they're going to go Sorkin just because. But I think Emerald Fennell is both who should get it and like makes the most sense for original screenplay. Have you
Okay.
seen Promising Young Woman yet?
No, I need to. Is
It
it
just it just dropped down on Prime. It is also available in Redbox for like way cheaper, obviously. But I would love to talk with you about it. It was
well,
it was an experience for sure.
maybe I'll throw it on after this.
Maybe you should. What's
I
your
do have
pick here
some.
though?
I do have some Handmaid's Tale I need to finish. I'm
Oh
doing.
Jesus Christ! I tapped out, man. I don't even think we made it through season two.
Oh, dude, I've just finished two. I'm starting. I was in the middle of three actually when I was like, shit, we're supposed to record. I got done eating. I was great. I was like,
Oh, I see. Okay.
oh shit.
Well, I put off
Yeah.
watching Mayor of Easttown, the premiere tonight on HBO. Kate Winslet solving a murder mystery.
What?
Yeah, dude. I put that off to record. I'm waiting to get to that after we're done with this.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well
dude,
then,
Mayor of Easttown, the new we finally have an HBO Sunday night drama back in the mix. And we
thank
finally
God.
got our early first part of the year murder mystery detective show. Dude, she's in it. Guy Pearce, who I'm
What?
who I'm saying from the beginning, he did it. I don't know how, but he did it. I'm sure he did. Um, and we'll see. But yeah, it's gonna be great, dude. Or I'm hoping it'll be great. I'm gonna check out the
Oh,
pilot tonight.
okay.
Yeah. All right. Where were we?
I had Sound of Metal.
Sound of Metal. I mean, I would love to see it win. I think again, sound is probably its lone
Probably.
thing it'll take away, unfortunately. But it did have a big showing in general. I'm surprised with the amount of nominations. Like, very
hmm
pleased to see that. Uh, yes. So again, you have me down for Promising Young Woman, but
Right, I do.
and I think we both agree though that unfortunately probably Aaron Sorkin will win. Not that he needs another one.
Exactly.
Okay. Achievement in directing. Do we even need to have this conversation? I mean, we
That's
can,
Mank.
but uh, oh, this is where you're gonna go with Meg for real?
I mean, why not? Why wouldn't he? I mean, I'm gonna say Nomadland, honestly.
100%. That's where my money is too. But just so everybody else knows who's in competition, Chloe Zhao for Nomadland is going to win. But we also have David Fincher for Meg, Promising Young Woman, directed by Emerald Fennell, Minari, Lee Isaac Chung, and another round, Thomas Vinterberg. All very deserving nominees. Um, but I think it's her year, which again have no problem with. I
Yeah.
just would like to encourage people, go check out The Rider. Maybe go watch some of her other movies. Uh, okay. Actress in a supporting role. This one is wide open, dude. I mean, throw a dart, I guess. Amanda Seyfried in Mank, Glenn Close, Hillbilly Elegy, Maria Bakalova, Borat subsequent movie film, delivery of prodigious bride to American regime for make benefit glorious nation, once glorious nation of Kazakhstan. You happy now? Olivia Colman
Yeah,
for the father, and Yu Jun Yun for Minari. Who's it gonna be?
I got Maria Bakalova.
All right. I'm gonna go with Yu Jun Yun for Minari,
Okay,
and we'll see how that shakes out.
agreed. All right,
My, excuse me, sorry.
who's your sixth person?
Well, yeah, my sixth person for original would have been Vast of Night. Uh, Andrew what Patterson, I think. And in directing, I also would have nominated Andrew Patterson and or Charlie Kaufman for Thinking of Ending Things. But
Yeah, I would have
that's
done
that's just
Bass
me.
of Night for directing as well as a first time. That would have been dope. Do you have, what about your supporting? Do you have anybody else you would throw in there for supporting actress?
Supporting actress. Um, well, I started to say it, but I'm like, no, she's the lead in that movie. I started to say Vast of Night again, but I think she's a lead, wouldn't you say?
Yeah,
Faye
I could.
Crocker. I
Yeah,
can't remember the actress's name off the top of my head, but I know the character. Um, yeah, so I guess I couldn't put her in here. Maybe Tony Collette for I'm Thinking of Ending Things,
yeah.
possibly. I actually need to like pull up my list. I did have these written out somewhere. Excuse me. You can vamp. Do you have a sixth woman in this category?
I'm running into that same thing. I'm trying to think, like, how you would
Oh,
who I
excuse me. No, sorry, I found my list. Dominique Fishback, uh, in Judas and the Black Messiah
okay,
as Fred Hampton's wife. Perfect
gotcha.
supporting performance. Like less
I
than
agree.
20 minutes on screen is like the heart and soul of that movie in so many ways. Like, yeah, that would be my sixth woman. But Yu Jun Yun is my pick for Minari, and I think she's got a good shot. But I think this category is wide open. Like I literally think it could be anybody. I don't think it will be Olivia Colman just because she's won recently for Best Actress. I don't think it will be Glenn Close just because that seems to be her fate to, to yeah, to not
Get
win.
right
And
there.
then again, I thought if you asked me like several months ago, I would have been like Amanda Seyfried, no question. But I just feel like all of the Mank energy is like completely dissipated. I think it's going to be The Irishman and it's going to walk away with literally nothing.
Probably.
Probably. Yeah. Uh, but yeah, who was your pick? But you said Bakalova, right? And I think that would be
Yeah.
awesome if she won. Just because they so rarely like when's the last time they did supporting for a comedy like Marissa Tomei and My Cousin Benny?
Yeah, 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah, where they actually won. I'm saying there's been the like, oh, we'll nominate Melissa McCarthy for Bridesmaids, or like we'll
Right.
do this or we'll do that. But it's again usually just feels like, oh, well, for you for this comedy, it's just an honor to be nominated. But
Right.
uh,
You want to do actor in the supporting role?
yes, that's where we're on to. I'm sorry, I was stuck in
This
my
this
scroll.
one doesn't this doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, I mean, go ahead and lay it on the table.
Wait, well,
This
how
is
can
this
you
has been a bit of controversy.
yeah, how do you put Daniel Kaluuya and Lakeith Stanfield as both supporting roles? I get if you don't want to argue that they're not the main issue, but then who technically is the lead in that movie? I get it is what it is. Are we
Well, the movie itself, okay, so
it's an ensemble?
most awards, you submit who you want in the category. The Oscars, they can pull regardless. That's how you have stuff like Anthony Hopkins wins Best Actor for Hannibal Lecter, a movie where he does not appear on screen for more than 20 minutes, but they consider him lead.
Yeah.
So that I'm saying there are these little things where it's like they can nominate you wherever the hell they want you to. So in all of the buildup, Lakeith had run as best actor with Daniel Kaluuya in supporting.
Mhm.
and Lakeith just did not get nominated for like Globes, SAG, etc. Like, and so it's kind of crazy that he finally pulled the nom for the Oscar, but it's in supporting. Now you would think that's going to mean that they would split the category, right? But I really don't think so. I think Daniel Kaluuya has it in the bag. Uh,
Well, just yeah, but yeah,
and
I
you
mean,
and I had this debate when we
listening,
reviewed the movie a bit, but I think, I mean, clearly it's from Lakeith's perspective. He's coming into that world and he is the lead character. He's the main focus. And
right?
Daniel Kaluuya is very much the supporting actor.
I agree, and like even listening to him talk, because I listened to him on Marin and I watched him in SNL and whatnot, and like just hearing all that, I feel like it would be one of those cool moments where like if he did win, he'd just be like, I'm not doing this alone. Like, come on up here, dude. Like we both did this together, that sort of thing, just to kind of stick it to the Oscars. I know.
Right.
Are they doing like? Are they doing even a live broadcast? Or are they?
I don't know exactly how it's going to go down. All I know is Steven Soderbergh is a producer this year of the Oscars. So I'm just counting on him to make it fucking cool and interesting, dude. So
Yeah.
we'll see what happens there. I think it's going to be a mix probably at home and over Zoom and stuff.
Okay. So who are you gonna go
But
with?
I'm going with Daniel Kaluuya, but we also have
Okay, me
Lakeith
too.
Stanfield, also for Judas and the Black Messiah, Leslie Odom Jr. in One Night in Miami, Paul Racy in Sound of Metal. I'm very happy to see him here. And then, I mean, if anybody sticks out like a sore thumb, I'm sorry, but Sacha Baron Cohen, who I love, does not deserve at all to be in the company of these other actors.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna do another person supporting you, I mean, you didn't even nominate Jared Leto. I mean, come on, man.
Um, okay, is that your six man pick?
Yes,
Seriously?
of course,
Because the
of
most
course.
glaring omission of the entire Oscars, and we talked about this at the time, the fact that Delroy Lindo is not nominated for Da 5
Yes,
Bloods in supporting is a
any of
fucking
them. It's
travesty.
Jonathan Winters. Like none of them. Nobody can get an Oscar.
Jonathan Majors. Jonathan
Majors,
Winters
Winters.
is a old British man who I believe is dead now. The
He is
comedian,
dead.
big friends with
Majors,
Robin
Winters.
Williams. Yes, Jonathan Majors could have got nominated. Clark Peters, any of them, but Delroy Lindo should have been nominated 100%.
Yes.
I don't understand it. I don't get it at all. I really don't. Um, and to be honest, if he was in this category, that would be my pick over Daniel Kaluuya.
Oh,
I still
definitely.
think that was one. I mean, as great as Judas and the Black Messiah was, I think that was a like career defining performance for Delroy Lindo. And I'm like, I think Daniel Kaluuya has like multiple Oscars in his future. I think he's going to win one on Sunday, but I think he's
Hmm.
got even more coming.
Oh, I'm sure.
Again, he should have won for Get Out. As far as we're concerned, he should already
Yeah.
have one. It's almost late to the party. You could have nominated him for supporting for Widows, which got completely
Or
ignored.
Black Panther.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't nominate him over Michael B. Jordan for
No, of
supporting,
course not. Yeah.
which
I
I
that's
remember when we thought
no
that
way.
was going to happen for a bit. We really thought that was going to happen, and then it didn't.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, best actress, shall
Granny
we?
both know that. It's all. It's all.
Oh, you think it's a done deal?
I do,
All right. So Gavin's going
but
with
I will
Frances
say that my
McDormand in Nomadland.
this is the one where I will switch it up and say my the safe money to me. I feel like is Frances McDormand, but if I had to pick, I would pick Viola Davis. And I'm surprised that she got nominated because I didn't really hear about it, but I didn't realize that they nominated Vanessa Kirby for Pieces of a Woman
Yes.
because that
She's
was
been like the lone nomination for that
yeah.
movie throughout the whole season. Yeah.
So
Notably, Andra Day did pull out the Golden Globe, kind of surprisingly. Viola Davis, I think, won SAG. I'm not sure. And then Frances McDormand won the BAFTA recently. So this one's been all over the place. I'm going with Carrie Mulligan.
well,
I'm gonna be bold and think that the Oscars might go a different direction, simply because Frances won like 2 or 3 years ago for Three Billboards outside of Ebbing, Missouri. You may
that's true.
recall. So a recent win. Viola won for Fences, which I believe would have been supporting. She honestly is probably my pick here of who's nominated, but I think it might be Carrie Mulligan for Promising Young Woman. I
Okay.
think it might happen. So that's what I'm going to go with. But I think it should probably be Viola. And then if I had my way, again, the fact that Jessie Buckley is not nominated for I'm Thinking of Ending Things, my favorite female performance of last year by a country mile. Uh, Given that she is not nominated, I guess I'll go with Carrie Mulligan as my pick.
Okay.
Did you have a sixth woman in this case?
I mean,
And the
the vast of
aforementioned
night.
Vast of Night, yes. And again, her name escapes me, and I cannot move over to look it up right now. Okay, we're on to Best Actor. Um, Again, I don't think we need to have a conversation, but Anthony Hopkins is nominated for The Father, Chadwick Boseman for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Gary Oldman for Mank, Riz Ahmed for Sound of Metal, and Stephen Yun for Minari.
Yeah.
Fantastic category,
Wait a
first of
minute. Wait,
all.
wait, wait, wait. We skipped the best supporting actor.
How? No, we didn't. Daniel Kaluuya.
Oh, we
Who,
did. We went right by that. My bad.
who did you pick him as well?
I
I don't
did.
think we
That's right.
settled
That's
on
why.
that.
Yeah, I
Yes.
did. You're right. Go ahead.
All right. So yeah, I mean it's a done deal, and it's also my pick, and it's who I think should win. But Chadwick Boseman's going to win this Oscar. Like
Right.
there's no question
Yeah.
whatsoever. I mean, if you want to be really subversive, I've heard a lot of energy around Anthony Hopkins just because he won the BAFTA, but I think that's more of a marker of like British people not voting for black people historically at the BAFTAs than it is
Right.
anything else. Like even when they're dead and there's all this energy behind honoring their final performance, even then they're like, nah, Anthony Hopkins. But you know, so if anybody's going to sweep in there, that's who it would be. Again, Gary Oldman, way too close to The Darkest Hour. Kind of wish in retrospect he had, won for in a different year in a different time realm where we don't have the tragedy of Chadwick Boseman. I'm like this. I would rather Gary Oldman win for Mank than The Darkest Hour. I think it's a superior performance, but whatever. Uh, and again, Riz Ahmed and Stephen Yun, it's one of those where it's like I love both of those performances. If they somehow snuck in here, that would be incredible.
Yeah, I agree.
But that's
Me
more of a
particularly,
like
Riz Ahmed more.
for both of them though, that's more of a like you guys have arrived. Like we recognize you as like some of the best actors of your generation. Which again, Stephen Yeun after Minari and particularly after catching up with Burning from a couple years ago, I'm like I think he's like one of the five best actors in the world right now. I think he's absolutely incredible.
Oh yeah, and
So
you haven't even seen Mayhem, so
of course, no, missed it. Uh, but we're both watching Invincible right now, where he
oh my
hones
god,
his
dude, are you
voice
wrong?
talents.
Wait a minute. Did another one just drop? Are they at 5 now?
Five or six, I'm not sure. New one came out on Friday.
Okay, I didn't watch the one on Friday. I got to catch up on that.
Yeah, they're either at five or six. I'm not sure.
Okay,
Did you watch Falcon and Winter Soldier, by the way?
I did,
Oh my god.
dude. Are
Okay,
you
so
kidding me?
I had to like I had to restart it the next day. Like I watched the first 20 minutes one night and I was fading, so I paused it. And so I started it back and I'm watching it and like it's ramping up and I'm not looking at the episode counter and I'm forgetting about the fact that I had already watched 25 minutes of it. So
Hmm.
they're building up to that ending or whatever. And like he's about to open the case from Wakanda. And I'm just like, dude, is it going to be wings or is it going to be a cap suit? What's it going to be? What's it going to be? What's it going to be? And then like cut to credits. And I was like, oh shit, I totally forgot. There's one more episode. I was totally geared up for
Yeah,
like, dude, he's about to suit up and like final action set piece. Let's get it. All credits. Oh shit, dude. Yeah,
yeah.
I am
I'm thinking it's
so
I'm thinking
I
it's a cap suit with wings in it already,
that would be incredible.
made from the like most
I
unbreakable metal on the planet.
This is one of the most exciting penultimate episodes I've seen in a long time where I'm like, I am so jacked for like for this coming Friday's episode that I'm like,
Hmm.
I don't even know if it can deliver because I am so excited. I thought that was a fantastic, like brought in a lot. We'll talk about it. We're gonna review it with the brothers Blanchard. I think we
Oh,
mentioned
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, this coming weekend. So I'll save all that chatter. Okay, yeah, Chadwick Boseman, all the way, best actor. Gonna happen. Very happy about it.
Indeed.
And we have arrived at the final category, brother. Best motion picture of the year 2020 slash 21
Yeah.
slash Q1 of 2021. And really, the only one that benefited from this, or two rather, Judas and the Black Messiah, of course, premiered in February.
Mm-hmm.
Promising Young Woman was like a Christmas release, so that no, that doesn't count. And then I think The Father did not get a proper release until
Right.
first part of this year. All of which are nominated here, along with Mank, Minari, Nomadland, Sound of Metal, and The Trial of the Chicago 7. What's it gonna be? What's your pick? What's your alternative? Oh, I didn't do an alternative best actor. Excuse me.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think who I feel like got
The kid who
got
plays
robbed this year.
Everett in Night Bass of Night. I mean, he's all over the place. He's my favorite
He's great.
to these nominees.
He's great. Um, if I'm gonna pull from anywhere else, maybe like any again, it's more of an ensemble, but anybody from Mangrove would be cool. Um,
How about Tom Hardy, Capone? How about that?
dude, the fact that you just reminded me that that's a movie that existed and like came out early quarantine, like we paid
Mhm.
extra money to watch that and
We
review it.
did.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's your sixth man pick, Tom Hardy.
Sure.
I thought for sure you were going to go Will Smith, Bad Boys for Life.
I mean, yeah, sure. Bad Boys for
the
Life.
the defining chapter in Mike Lowry's life.
The highest grossing movie of 2020 did not even get nominated. Can you imagine that?
Okay, I'm going to throw two at you. See how you feel about this. And it's also making me think that I totally screwed up on a Best Actress, Sixth Woman as well.
Okay.
And you could do it for both of these movies, actually. Andy Samberg,
Yeah.
Palm Springs, Best
Yeah.
Actor. That would be a cool nomination. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
From the same movie, Kristen Milotti for Best
Yeah.
Actress. And then also Possessor, Christopher
Uh,
Abbott for Best
yeah.
Actor, and Andrew Riceborough for Best Actress.
How about this? How about let's do this? Let's we'll talk recap when it's done. But let's say from let's just do editing up. We'll make our own picks. Who like okay, this is what the Academy said, but if I had to if you agree, you agree. But if you don't, and you can think of something that you feel like could have beat the winner, but just didn't get noticed, you bring that to the table. How's that sound?
For our actual recap episode that you're saying.
Right. So yeah,
Yeah,
we'll wait and see who the Academy picks, and we're like, okay, but hey,
for
guess
sure.
this is a movie that nobody saw that didn't get nominated that totally would win. That when you look back in 5 years and you're like, wait a minute, this thing won.
Right.
It'll. This is the movie people actually still be talking about when 5 years comes up. I think that's what we should do.
Um, I don't think we settled on Best Picture, but we both picked Nomadland, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I got No Man Land. If I mean, just based off of watching it and what it meant, if there was a surprise out of nowhere, I wouldn't hate it if Sound of Metal won, just because I'm appreciate that it got nominated. But if I had to say a runner up, if it's not going to be Nomadland, it's probably going to be Judas and the Black Messiah.
That would be my stealth. Like, I hope that happens pick, honestly. And I think there's a way to you give Chloe Zhao Best Director, but then you give Best Picture to Judas and the Black Messiah because they've split the vote in recent years
Mm-hmm.
where they honor one thing for director. It's not necessarily 100% crossover, but I again we're picking what we think will win. Not we're not playing magical mystical games here. So
Right. This isn't Vegas odds either, so it's just
I,
kind of
I'm going with Nomadland, but I would love to see the upset. from Judas and the Black Messiah. I also think Minari is an incredible movie and could totally sneak in there. Uh, the other ones I don't really think have a shot. And the only other weird upset, obviously, would be if like Trial of Chicago 7 won, because that
Yeah.
would seem like the most like old school Oscar pick. And it would seem boring as hell and completely out of touch with like everybody else's taste. But it could happen. But I think it's going to be Nomadland. I think that's a safe bet. And obviously, if you've listened to any of our year-end coverage of last year, my my other movie, I'm thinking of ending things that should have been at least nominated. Just saying, there's plenty of other love for Netflix movies. I don't know why we couldn't find some for old Charlie Kaufman, but that's just me. That's just something
Yeah.
that I enjoyed. So okay, we got them locked in. They're all written down.
Yep, they are all
Oh, go.
recorded.
Okay. Are you sure?
100%.
Okay, before we move on, what did you think of Nomadland? Or like, are you going to be pleased if it wins? Is it more of just like, oh, okay, yeah, I understand that? Are you amped for it to win? Does it feel like a fait accompli, a foregone conclusion? Like, what's your
Uh,
feelings on it? What did you think watching it?
I just appreciated how it just, I mean, again, that's why I was asking how it was made, what it dealt with, all that, because I get, there are actors, because you asked me if there was somebody I knew who showed up in there, and I'm assuming you're talking about what's his face, right? Like the dude that shows up, that I can't think of his name now. Whatever he
David Strathairn.
is, that who that is?
Yeah, the only other non-actor in the movie.
Right. What is
Hmm.
he's was he in those Bourne movies?
Yeah, among other things. But
Like,
yeah,
what else
he's
would I know him from? I know who he is. I know the face. He's another that guy to me.
I mean, Good Night and Good Luck was probably the closest he came to like big. So he was nominated for an Oscar for it, but uh,
Right.
Quiz Show back in the day.
Yeah.
Um, he was in Lincoln. He was in Godzilla. He's in L.A. Confidential.
He's one of those everywhere guys. He
Yeah,
works.
dude. He's just been in a billion things. I don't know what the definitive David Strathairn role is, other than um, Edward R. Murrow in Good Night and Good Luck.
Hmm.
Like that's the closest he's that had to like a big leading role. But yeah, he's been in shit forever. He's on The Sopranos. He's got a nice little arc on there. All
Okay.
over TV. I think he's a theater guy primarily. I don't know,
Probably.
um, but yeah. So you liked it. I mean, I guess
Yeah. No.
retroactively, like where does it stack up in your year end ranking?
I mean,
Like, would it have been one of your top 10? Did you have like a huge response to it, or was it more just like, oh, that was good? I enjoyed it.
I mean, for the year. I mean, I probably would have made it like a 6 or 7, maybe around that area. Definitely, because again, it sounds ridiculous, but half of it is just the technical side you don't see. I mean, I like I when we mentioned it the other day, or it's not the other day, it's a couple episodes ago, but just the idea of like, yeah, just cut her hair and send her out into the world with these people and just tell her that like, oh, this is just my friend who's recording this because she's recording my journey, and try and see how many people you can come and interact with and just talk to and build your story from that. And then if you have to go back and get hiccups of like you getting fired or you having to quit this job and move, and like you can tell that story secondarily, but just the raw interactions with people, that's what I would appreciate. It's like you and I mentioned Bad Trip last time we talked. I've since
Mm-hmm.
watched it.
Hell
And
yeah.
part of Bad Trip is the credits where they're showing these people, hey, dude, there's a camera. We're getting you released because we have to get you released to get you on film. But that's what I would have shot all that. I would have shot my interaction with people, what they're telling me, learning everything I can about this culture of like people who constantly are in flux and moving for work. And then I would have shot me getting their release to sign and whatnot. And I would have put all that together and like pulled my thing from that. Now I get that they had a story to tell and an idea to go with, and I think that's great. And I know you told me the writer is very similar in that it's non-actors true to form. It's as close as you can get to a documentary slice of life that is an actual narrative film. And so that aspect of it alone, just making something like that, I'm already on board with. But then you put in Francis McDormand, I'm like, okay, can't complain with that. And then you bring up this subject that, like, I feel like a lot of people probably aren't aware of, or if they are now, they are because of, they're forced into it. And it's at the same time that it seems like kind of sad and like whatever, it's awfully very hopeful, and it kind of shows you like some people do this because they have to, some people do this because they choose to, and
Mhm.
regardless, it's just a group, it's a subculture of people that live in this country that probably very rarely get the spotlight put on them. And I thought it was a beautiful way to kind of showcase that, and showcase that regardless of like what you may think or feel about it all, there's just to get to the humanity of it and what it means to move throughout that world, exist in it, operate in it, all that. I don't know, I enjoyed it. um I mean, it was no Bad Boys 3 or uh
Well, that's
or
that's
Vast of Night, which is like, pure,
given that you mentioned that,
but it was still really good.
just for context, yeah, Bad Boys for Life was my number 22 favorite movie of last year, and Nomadland was my number 29.
There you
So
go.
there you go. I I thought it was incredibly well made. I think it's a very good movie. Um,
Indeed.
at the same time, I did not fully movie's very vibey, uh, kind of just flows and goes along. And I never fully like emotionally invested in it. Not that that's a prerequisite for me enjoying a movie,
Right.
but I felt like all of it was at a bit of a remove, a bit more observational than on the ground, like with these people. And I don't know if that's the mood I was in or what, but I felt like it was more the mood and the vibe than it was any kind of depth to any of these interactions with people.
Right.
Um, or like really trying to tell anybody else's story. It's just kind of her flowing through and picking up these little bits of other people. And again, that wasn't like why I disliked it. I just felt like, and I didn't really dislike it at all. It just did not grab me in the way that like the writer, for instance, her previous movie, I was so emotionally invested in and just like right there with the guy the whole time. And I don't know if that remove is partly because I'm sitting there going, well, this is Frances McDormand and she
Right.
is acting right now.
That's what
And
I was going to ask. If
for
that
me, it was
played any
like
role.
this, yeah, it was like Nomadland is like her taking her current style of filmmaking to, I guess, its logical end point, honestly, in a lot of ways, which is like, okay, I've worked with mostly non-actors doing this hybrid documentary narrative style. What happens when I introduce one of the most famous actresses in the world into this setup and the way that I make movies? And for me, it didn't fully work, honestly. The stuff
Mm-hmm.
with her and Strathern, which feels a little more written, does not like feel as naturalistic as some of the interactions with the non-actors.
Right.
And so, anyways, I had a few quibbles with it in general. I totally like understand why it's being recognized and why people love it and are getting behind it. I just personally did not like emotionally connect to it that deeply. I have no problem with it winning Best Picture. I think it's a lot better than some other movies that have won Best Picture. But for me, it just, yeah, it was nowhere near my top 10. I thought it was good. I thought it was well made, but just not one of my favorites of last year.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
Uh,
like Sound of Metal is like 10 times higher for
and
me.
Sound of Metal is much higher for me as well, but even Sound of Metal was not like in my top 10 and I didn't respond to as much as you did. And I've heard other
Yeah.
people like you and Tim, for instance, like absolutely 10 out of 10. I had some minor quibbles with that one as well. And like my friend Evan, I think we were a little more like, oh, great movie, but like I had a few issues with this or that that kept me from like fully loving it, like thinking it was like masterpiece level. Um, and we don't have to like relitigate those right now, but yeah, another one that I think I emotionally connected with parts of it, and then other elements I was like, well, did we need that or this? And it just the I don't know. Anyways,
I mean,
So
I
yeah,
think
I'm a little more muted on Nomadland in general, but
yeah,
again, I think of what's nominated. I don't like if this again is what Chloe Zhao is like honored for when it's like her last two movies. Songs My Brother Taught Me, I finally caught up with, which is incredible as well. But it's more like a introduction to like, hey, okay, we think you're like on this next platform of like directors, etc. I think that's just cool, period. And then it is interesting that like her follow-up to Nomadland is Eternals, this giant fucking Marvel movie, which I'm even more fascinated to see just because it's like, how do we go from like this budget level way up here? So,
right.
uh,
That'll definitely be interesting.
and we get that later
To,
this year too, which is crazy. She's going to win an Oscar, and then we're going to get her next movie within a couple months. So,
yeah, I mean, I didn't even know that they put out that New Mutants movie at all. So it showed up on Max.
oh yeah, it went into theaters in the midst of last year,
It
and then
did.
it was on VOD for a while. Yeah.
I had no idea. I thought it was a TV show.
Oh no, it. I mean, it also sat on a shelf for like 3 or 4 years. That's why, like Anya Taylor Joy, the girl from Game of Thrones, Arya. Can't think of the actress's name. That's
I
why
know who
they
you're talking
all look like 3 or 4 years younger. Because
about. And
yeah.
what's his face from Stranger Things?
Oh yeah, same thing there. Dude, those kids, when we finally get season 4, we're not even gonna recognize them. They're
That
gonna
was
have
the
to
thing.
like they're gonna have to do like reintroduction name cards or whatever, where they're just like it flashes on the screen just to tell you whatever who everybody is.
Exactly. I don't know if I got to that when we talked about Godzilla versus King Kong, but like that was the one thing I took away was like, oh my God, she is old.
She's
Like
old. Okay. Yeah.
she's not 12, 13 anymore. She's definitely like, I mean, I knew she was a little older playing younger, but just
Yeah.
the jump is just like,
That's
oh
gonna be one long summer between season 3 and 4.
yeah.
Anyways. Okay. All righty. Are we done? Are we done with Oscars?
I think so. I think we'll be back. I don't know. You said we got to talk to them next weekend about
Yeah,
uh
our Oscar wrap up probably won't be like the day or night after the Oscars. It'll
no,
probably be
no.
a little ways after. But yeah,
Yeah, we got to have time to
we'll run back
digest.
through this, see who won, determine what that winner gets out of all of this, because
Yeah.
who knows. Uh, but yeah, man. So if you want to continue to, we can catch
Yeah.
up on some what you've been watching, and then we can get out of here. Whatever you want to do.
All right, let's do this. Because this has been killing me to not being able to get. All right, so I left you with Jade last time.
Yeah, what'd you think of Jade?
Noah, it's a fuck house. Okay, that's all I'm going to tell you.
Beluga caviar, Wolfgang Puck. It's a fuck house.
Did you listen to How Did This Get Made? Right?
100%. Of course.
Okay, because the
I was going to
details
tell
that
you
they.
to if you hadn't.
Yeah, no, I listened to that right after I watched it, and I was just like, oh my god. um, I
Did you
mean,
check out some of these gizmos and clitorifics? I was
yeah,
getting
I love
excited just thinking about you. You should try some of those butt plugs. They're made for the perfect asshole.
yeah.
Dude, I was just like, dude, Esther House was on the good cocaine that week, apparently. Because some of
Definitely.
those lines, I was like, dude, you're outdoing yourself. My God.
Too much. Yeah.
um, I thought it was a blast, man. I mean,
Perfect.
one of the
Note perfect for
wildest freaking
everything.
movies I've ever seen. But
It's like he
yeah,
made it just to have a 90s car chase through San Francisco.
what
So
did
he
you
could
think of that,
chase in
dude? With
every
them
movie.
just like the insanity of those car chases, the intensity, and like when people get hit by vehicles, when vehicles get hit by other vehicles, it's just
When
this like
they
all of a
drive through
sudden it's
Chinatown.
like a Chinese action movie from the 90s, like with
Yeah.
the intensity level. It was just, yeah, dude, it was weird.
Hmm.
I liked it.
I loved it. I thought, I
I mean,
mean,
it's trash, but like
complete
glorious
trash.
trash, glorious trash.
Yeah.
And it's
I think
seedy and
we can
grimy, you know, and Chaz
if we
Palminteri's in there.
oh
It's
my
just
god, dude. Speaking of parliamentary,
Bronx Tale.
I
No.
had more. I had
Oh,
one more.
okay.
I wanted it was new TV. and I don't know how much you follow this. I watched 2 weeks ago where they brought Stabler back to
Oh
SBU
yeah.
only to start him on organized crime. And of
Right,
course,
right.
Paul Terry is in the first episode of Organized Crime.
Oh hell yeah. Okay.
Guess who his son is?
Who?
He's a mob boss in this show. His son is Mr. Dylan McDermott.
You Dermot Mulrooney.
No, no,
Sure,
Dylan
surely you're
McDermott.
okay.
Yes,
No, I knew McDermott was in it. I so wait, they're saying he's related to Chaz Palminteri?
he's basically they set it up as like Paul Terry is the old hat, like I'm the mob guy. McDermott is his son, who's like estranged from him and is like, you never should have talked shit about the fact that I married a black woman. You're dead to me, kind of thing.
I
And
wonder how Palminteri feels about this because like they can't be that different in age, like maybe like 15, 16
maybe
years. And it's like
he
he's
really,
playing my son. Like,
but
but
here's the
Dylan
thing: it's
McDermott
for
has
like,
aged incredibly well. So
yeah, he has. But I'm gonna spoil it because I know you're not gonna watch it. They killed Paul Terry in the first episode.
oh, okay.
It's like that was it. They're built, but I like this because it's like they're building to like it's almost like a Netflix kind of just like we're going to introduce a bad person that is probably ultimately responsible for what happened to you, but you're not going to, it's not like every other Law and Order where it's like, we're going to get the guy, we'll have a courtroom scene, and it'll be done. This feels like it's going to be building to an overall thing throughout the episode pacing. I don't know if they're going to do a full 24, if they're just going to do 12 and see what happens, but
Right.
it's exciting to see the characters together again, especially knowing like how he left SBU with them not giving him a new contract and him just kind of being like, okay, well, I guess I'll go. And he went off and I mean, to me, kind of had a successful career with movies, being in, movie shows. I mean, he's not like he just quit working. He's been working forever. So it was nice to see that. So that was the only other TV thing I didn't mention, but I wanted to wait till I got here.
Word.
Okay. Another new one. I watched Buddy Games on Hulu.
Okay.
That's you have no idea.
No, please enlighten me.
Josh Dumel, Dak Shepard, the one from I can't think of his name. Nick. He's in all the Happy Madison stuff. Nick.
Swartzen?
Yeah, him. Uh, the other Damon brother, not Damon. The other Dylan brother.
Kevin Dillon?
Hmm?
Kevin Dillon?
Matt, not Matt Dillon.
Kevin Dillon. I said it like 3
Sure,
times.
I don't know.
That is who you're talking about. Entourage?
Is it him? I don't know. I have
Oh
to look
my
at.
God. What is this movie about? You literally have zero of my attention, by the way, with the cast
Okay.
you just gave me. I could care less about this, but please tell our listeners what it's
Okay.
about.
Okay. So there's like a group of guys that get together and they do like fucked up, like have like, they fuck with each other. Like they're just old men aging. And like one of them, there's an accident one year and, they're coming back together. And the basic premise is like Josh Duhamel has like has earned all this money. He's a billionaire. And in order to kind of like bring his friends back together after the accident that happened to one of them, he decides that like the old games they used to play and all this shit to like fuck with each other.
Is
They're
this not just tag?
no,
Isn't this just tag? Like this looks like tag.
I mean it could be, but it's not. I never
I
saw
mean,
tag.
literally, the poster looks exactly like tag. I didn't
Okay,
see
so
tag either.
I didn't either.
How many more times can we say tag?
I don't know. You want to
Okay.
tag this up with I saw
Was it any good? Because
I
it looks like
enjoyed it,
people
dude. It had a little
hated
bit
it. Okay.
yeah, they probably hated it. I don't ever go by what people say. I go by what I feel.
That's
I
why I'm asking.
I
Maybe
laughed. I
it's
had a
a
good
hidden
time.
gem here. Okay.
To me, yeah, you know,
Okay. That's Buddy Games available on
yes.
Hulu, starring Josh Duhamel.
Hmm.
Josh Duhamel.
All right, The Big Easy. I never seen that before.
Dennis Quaid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and John Goodman's in there. Oh, what's her face? Aaron Ellenbergen.
Ellen Barkin. How
Barstein,
dare you,
Barkin. I don't know.
dude? Don't ever misspeak about Ellen Barkin.
Okay.
She's one of my all timers for
Oh
sure.
yeah, she can get it.
Sea of Love, dude.
Yeah,
Okay.
of course.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways,
Uh,
the
Um,
fan. This boy's life. Come on. Come on. Fighting with De Niro.
yeah, of course.
Anyways, yeah. Big Easy. Never seen it.
It's
After I
weird. It
just
was
went on
saved,
my Barkin rant, never seen the Big Easy.
dude. It's so good. I don't know how what I make a Dennis Quaid's accent, but I
Is
mean,
it which is better, this or Body Heat?
oh, I'd have to rewatch Body Heat.
I watch or rewatch Body Heat during quarantine. Great movie.
Yeah, that was
Seriously, what a good movie. Um,
indeed.
all right, I'll check it out. Is this on Prime right now?
Yeah, I believe so because it was like, if I'm not mistaken, it was one of your, it was saved in our watch list.
Oh, because I was gonna watch it at some point.
Okay, all right. Well, my bad.
Now I have to re-add it. No, I mean that's what it's there for, man.
Yeah.
It's like us
Uh,
communicating digitally, just leaving suggestions around for each other. Go ahead.
this must be the place.
Is that
Sean
the
Penn.
the yeah, okay. How was that?
You never seen it?
No, never bothered with
Kind of weird.
it.
Um, really weird.
Yeah.
But like I enjoyed it weird.
Gavin, if I'm not mistaken, I think that's one of those movies you're not allowed to like.
Is it
So
an indie? Maybe
I'm,
that's
I'm
feeling
pretty
bad.
sure it is.
How did
Uh,
Sean Penn can't make indies? He's an Oscar winner.
um, that's like pretty much all he does lately. But yeah, go ahead.
Really?
I mean, not lately. I don't even know what I'm talking about, but
Hmm.
yeah,
Well,
that was one I completely passed by.
I it was on HBO, and I was like, okay. And I get the whole like I don't know what accent he was going for. If he was trying to be like a cross between like Robert Smith from The Cure and like some other rock and
Keep
roll.
talking.
I I have no idea. So you know, I enjoyed that. Let's see what else have I got in here. Uh, Richard Jewell.
Did you say anything after This Must Be the Place before Richard Jewell?
No, just Richard Jewell.
Okay. What'd you think?
I really enjoyed it. I was so happy for Paul Walter Hauser when I don't think I need to be because I know the dude's good and like a lot of stuff. But that movie, just like I don't know, man.
He
If
was
any
great.
stuff happened to him at all, you know, like I don't know. It's kind of weird that like it takes Clint Eastwood of all people to kind of put you in the mindset of, oh, you know how we like assassinate people without like knowing the facts now? You know, we did that in the 90s, right? Like when there wasn't an internet, we still did this. And like this is the price we paid. Like, you know, the only saving grace for me is the fact that the reporter woman, when she actually went and like walked the route and she had the revelation of like, oh, he couldn't have made it here, that was the one saving thing because I feel like if you make that today or if that happens today, it's like, well, it doesn't matter if you could have made it here or not. I'm still keeping my guns. I'm not going to like offer any sympathy or like print a retraction or like go back on what I said. I said it first. I
Right.
was the
Well,
first one. I got the applause. So
I
fuck
don't
what.
know if you missed any of this controversy around when it came out, but that specifically that Olivia Wilde character is like part of the reason why the movie got completely like shafted in terms of awards consideration, etc. Because
Mhm.
apparently the whole depiction of her like sleeping with her contacts and like all of that stuff was like fabricated to like make her look like even more of a opportunist essentially.
Oh,
And so it's like that was where it embellished, where it's like so much of it was like very factually based, but then it has this like, well, we got to make her this like evil vixen sort of thing baked in there.
hmm.
um I was aware of that controversy before I watched the movie, and I think I was like, I don't know if it's as heavy handed as some people think it is, but just simply the fact that it like it does the convenient like, yeah, Hollywoodization of just giving you a simple way to be like, oh, she sucks, so we should be like rooting for this other group. Anyways,
Yeah.
um,
And again,
all of
Rockwell,
that
dude.
removed from it, though, I Rockwell was great in it as well. Kathy Bates, like everybody was great. Very
Um,
well made.
mhm.
And
uh,
yeah, that was my first Eastwood in a bit. Still never seen Sully. Still got to catch the mule at some point.
well,
But
you got to watch The Mule.
all right, we gonna
It's
see
good.
Cry Macho together.
We are. We take the family if we want. It doesn't matter to me.
All right. Cool.
Um,
What
okay.
else you got?
VFW. Finally got to see that.
Again, okay, or
No,
is
no,
that a chef's kiss? What is this? Yeah.
it's a chef's
I
kiss.
again, I told you at the time, I was like, I know you'll like this more than I did. I had fun with it. I wanted a little more from it, but just you
Hmm.
get those guys together in one location, like I'm gonna be happy.
And
It was fun.
that's the Hammer's kid in there, isn't it? Right? If I read
Yes, it is.
that, I appreciate. I thought it was pretty cool. Uh,
Passing the torch, if you will. Um, you got Jerry Horn from Twin Peaks, old
yeah.
TPK. David Love, David Patrick
Hmm.
Kelly.
Yeah.
Uh,
Cove. Martin Cove.
yeah, and Stephen Lang.
You can't
And
go
then there's
wrong.
one. Is there one more I'm forgetting? Like Big Gun that I'm forgetting?
Norm from Cheers.
Oh yeah, George went for a bit. I forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Honestly, if anything, it's like I feel like if we got a little more from the
What's his
supporting
face?
cast and a little more from the villain side of things, we have like a much better movie. I felt like nobody else in the movie was really on the level with those guys. Uh,
The janitor guy from Disturbing Behavior. William, not
Bill
William some
Sadler, yeah, Bill Sadler,
Sadler. That's it. Sadler. I'm trying to think
yeah.
of the last name. I was thinking Forsyth, and I was like, that's wrong. That's so wrong.
Die Hard 2, Die Harder, dude.
Yeah. General um Colonel Stewart. That's his name.
Colonel Stewart, yeah.
I forget all about that. Yeah, BFW. Um, I watched a little documentary called Charlie Bronson, Hollywood's Lone Wolf.
Is that a new doc or an old one?
It's new, like last year, year before.
Okay, where's this available?
Uh, Prime, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay,
I think it's on Prime. Really good. Really, it got really into the meat of how he had tried and tried and tried and tried and got nothing, and then Death Wish hits, and he's like, I'm there. And he just becomes that guy, even though he's like not the guy, and how people were outraged by Death Wish. Um, how people were, it covers pretty much everything about his life. And they do have some rare interview footage with him, which I appreciated. Um, and going into like how he got his name and like his wife and all these different things, little stories and stuff you really may have not known about him. But just, I mean, if we're gonna go that era, that's my dude. Like,
yeah,
it's him and Monty Cliff from like that era of like studio based work, moving into like where they wound up. And he was notoriously like, you find out he's like, I'm gonna work. I'm not gonna sit back and wait on like being the best roles being written for me, this and that. I'm just gonna go to work and be an actor, and I can
right.
appreciate that because having come up in a time where that's what he could do, I can appreciate that.
And admittedly, Charlie Bronson's somebody I'm like completely ignorant on. I've like
Really?
I've barely seen any of the output, so that's kind of an open invitation to whenever you want to force me to watch something for 2x2.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
I mean, take your
I
pick.
could find some.
I think I've seen the original Death Wish one time, but that's pretty much that. And Once Upon a Time in the West, which I watched when I was like 10, is about as far as my Charlie Bronson knowledge goes.
Really? So you haven't seen Death Wish 3?
I haven't seen any of the sequels. No, I've
Oh
listened to
my
many
god.
podcasts about them. I've
Oh
heard you
dude,
recount them, but I've never.
the
Yeah.
Crackdown. Oh man, number 4, the Crackdown. That's the best.
All right, man. Well,
Dude, there's a
keep it
drug
in
dealer
mind.
tricks him into killing other drug dealers. It's the best.
Which one has Michael Parks?
Number 5,
Okay.
The Face of Death.
All right.
Yes.
Again, dealer's choice, but just keep that in mind. Okay, what else you got for me?
Um, I watched Grand Isle with Nick Cage on Hulu.
Is that Not ringing a bell at all. Is that a newish Nick Cage? Is that like
Newish. Yeah,
last
and
10
this it
years?
was last year. Yeah, last year.
Okay. What's the deal with
Um,
that one?
he's a veteran. He has an accident and needs his fence repaired, and a guy shows up to fix it, and it becomes basically him, this guy, and Nick Cage's hot wife trapped in their own in Nick Cage's house with a hurricane approaching, and then craziness ensues. I'll leave it at that.
Intriguing.
Yeah,
All right.
trailer out. It's on Hulu. Um, I watched Unhinged with
I'm
Russell Crowe.
okay. I plan on watching it. That's why I had it in the watch list. Should I move it up in my list or
Oh
not?
yeah, I would.
Okay.
It's a good thriller. I mean, I
We
like.
will talk about it soon then.
Yeah. Let's see. I watched Contraband, some garbage crime with Maki Mock, and
R.I.P. Marky Mark's mom passed away today.
yeah, I saw that. And
Alma Wahlberg.
Ribisi, Giovanni Ribisi's in
I hear he's fantastic in
it. Ew, fucking Ben Foster. Enough
it.
said.
He's in Contraband?
He is in Contraband.
He just slips past me sometimes, dude. There was
I
that
know,
whole
dude.
Lance Armstrong movie. Never watched it.
You
Didn't
need
catch
it.
it.
Last big one that I saw with him was Galveston.
Dude, you need to watch Leave No Trace if you never saw it.
I
Same year as Galveston.
okay. Leave no trace. I got you.
He should have been up for Best Actor for that. But anyways,
Never Too Young to Die.
old, young, what?
Never Too Young to Die.
Who's in that? That title sounds familiar.
John Stamos
Oh, okay. Yes, I saw this pop
and
up recently.
um, Gene Simmons from Kiss with no makeup.
Okay,
And Stamos' dad is George Lazenby.
what's happening in the movie?
Stamos is a gymnast. His dad is like an international whatever thing, man of mystery, whatever. And Gene Simmons runs this like underground slash desert group of crazies. And John Stamos has to like, learn to realize that his dad was never around because his dad was like a super secret agent and has to use the power of gymnastics and like whatever to like fight back against Gene Simmons. It's wild, dude. It's a wild 80s, like just kind of under the radar, like didn't have enough to be great, but had enough money to get these people in it, and it's semi-enjoyable. It's a little bit better than Hell Comes to Frogtown, but it's
Okay,
not a Mad Max, if that makes any sense.
word.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, next one I watched was 2067 on Hulu. It's a New Zealand based time travel, time warp movie.
Okay.
Earth is losing oxygen. They get a message to send a guy to a point in time in the future. And it's like, okay, you sent me here, but like how, how did we know to get here? Just it kind of messes with your perception of what time travel is. But I really enjoyed it for what it was. It didn't look like it didn't look, but also like the story and everything, the questions it asks about time travel movies, if you will, the genre and all that is pretty good. I can appreciate it. I finally watched the second Ghost Rider movie.
Oh, hell yeah.
I've never seen it, and it was like fucking amazing. Like,
Yeah. Like head and
I wish,
shoulders better than the first one.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know why that Marvel Knights gig didn't just take off from there. That would have been great. Let's see.
Yeah,
All right,
both of those are on Prime right now, if I'm not mistaken.
all right. I watched.
Or HBO Max, I'm not sure.
I think it's HBO Max.
I forget. I'm just picturing watch list in my head. Yeah.
Yeah, I watched Hunter x Hunter with Devin Sawa and Nick Stahl.
Okay. How was that?
Really good. Like, did not expect it to be that good. Like, looked gorgeous. The like random as hell. I heard Devin Sawa talk about it on a podcast, and I was like, that sounds intriguing, because I'd seen the poster come up on Hulu once, and I was like, it's probably stupid. Then I read it, he was in it, and I was like, because I couldn't tell it was him from the poster at all. Um, uh, let's see, but yeah, so I would recommend that one. And finally, my last new one I watched is another movie called Night Moves.
Okay. Not
I think
the
no,
Oh
not
shit, dude, you finally watched a Kelly Reichardt movie?
I did.
Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah,
What'd you think?
really, really, really ratcheted the tension up from the minute I realized you find out what they're doing, the tension, and then just everything. It is. Whew.
Okay, so go watch First Cow now, please. Go watch Wendy and Lucy. Go watch any of her other. Go watch Meek's. You would love Meek's Cutoff, dude. Western, basically set on like the Oregon Trail.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking dude. Yeah, go watch anything else by her. But awesome. Where did you watch Night Moves? Because now I want to rewatch it.
Um, I might have been on Prime. If it wasn't on Prime, it was on Hulu.
It is
No, it's on Prime.
on.
It's on Prime.
Yes. Okay.
And dude, that was when I was just like, okay, I watched it. Like I've been, maybe I shouldn't do this to myself, but a lot of times I will watch a trailer just to be like, listen, if I get to the end of this, minute and a half or whatever, and I'm like, I'll turn it on and see what happens. And I was honestly like, okay, that's intriguing. And I put it on thinking like, okay, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. And then I was just hooked the entire time. Like, this is fucking tense as shit, man.
Her movies are engrossing, dude. That's what I'm telling you. Like, again, I've told you vaguely about First Cow, and based on the description, you're like, oh, yeah, whatever. But it's just, you get so deeply invested in these people. Oh, God. Okay. Well, that's awesome, dude. I'm glad you checked that out.
Yeah.
All right. Um, I got some rewatches I can throw at you
Okay.
very, very quickly. Uh, for our upcoming 2x2, which will be the next thing we'll be recording,
Yes.
theoretically, Super Mario Brothers and Michael Clayton. It's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be a good episode. Just saying.
Okay.
I watched Extract, the kind of the other long lost Mike Judge movie. It's after Idiocracy.
Oh, okay. I
Jason
think
Bateman.
yeah,
Do you
yeah, I know
remember
what you're talking about.
this? Mila
Yes.
Kunis, Ben Affleck
Mm-hmm.
in a great supporting comedic role, which he hadn't done in
Yes.
a while. Yeah, it's on Prime right now. Veronica's a huge Mike Judge fan, mainly from King of the Hill and the movies as well, but she had never seen it, so surprised her with that one. I saw that in the theater with Colin, like opening weekend. There was two other people in the theater at the time, and I remember it being one of those where I was just like, dude, yeah, this is another like cult comedy classic. It's got great bits in it. It's not as like stand out as Office Space or Idiocracy, but it's definitely worth your time if you've never seen it. Uh, we started but did not finish Shanghai Noon
Okay.
because they'd had Nights up forever, and I was like, I want to watch the first one. I don't care about the sequel. And then finally they put it up,
I don't
and
think
then
I've ever
she
seen the
was
sequel.
no, neither have I. Neither have I.
Oh,
Yeah. Uh, but yeah, Veronica was disappointed because it was too actiony. I was like, it's a Jackie Chan movie. Like, what were you expecting? She's like, I don't know, I was thinking more funny, like Rush Hour. I was like, it's funny, but like, you know. Anyways, Speed. It's on HBO Max.
Pop Quiz Hot Shot.
Tried to follow it up with Speed 2 Cruise Control. Did not finish.
Is it available?
Yeah, they're both on there. Both on Max.
Oh, they're both. Oh,
Yeah.
I've only seen. Okay. Well, I might have to do that over this promising young woman joint. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Also, please watch Promising Young Woman instead. Did a little Robin Williams twofer. Rewatched Mrs. Doubtfire for the billionth time, along with Hook for the billionth time.
Oh my god, dude! You talk about just like you give me one other person that has that amazing of a '90s output, and all I can tell you is, okay, well, that's another movie star.
I did the only other rival is like Tom Hanks for their
That's a movie star.
90s. Like,
Another movie star.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just
there's a lot of actors in the 90s, Noah. There's four movie stars: Smith, Tom
yep.
Cruise, Robin Williams,
And
and Tom
Tom Hanks.
Hanks.
Yep,
Those are
pretty
the
much.
90s. Find me a fifth one. I dare you.
I don't know. I got
There
nothing
is
for
Nick
you.
Cage.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, those two were both extremely fun rewatches. And then another movie you might remember, which is kind of like the bastard child of Mrs. Doubtfire and Pretty Woman in a weird way. Milk Money is on Amazon Prime right now.
Oh yes. I'm so glad to know that. That might have to be somebody's two by two coming up soon because I haven't watched that in years.
um, what an interesting rewatch
I,
as an adult. Have not seen it since like the beach when we were kids, probably like 7 or 8. I don't know why it works, but it's the magic of Ed Harris and Melanie Griffith, dude.
I
But
agree.
somehow that movie is not as like you would think going back to it, like, oh my God, this is gonna be so problematic. Like, how did they even make this? But like it pulls it off, dude. It's this sweet little fun movie. It's so
Mm-hmm.
good. Yeah.
And you got Malcolm McDowell in there as the bad guy
Yeah.
of all people.
Dude, some intense stuff where like Anne Heche is the other prostitute, the like
Right.
hanger on prostitute. But at one point, she's like, yeah, so they found out Cash was stealing money and they cut his heart out. And you're like, this is a kid's movie. I
Yeah,
think.
I remember.
Is this a kid's movie? But yeah, it
Right.
takes it to that level a couple times where you're like, and then honestly, the third act has a lot of problems, but I would love to discuss them with you if you ever want to do a 2x2, or if you just rewatch it and we
I
can.
will dude. I got some stuff. I've got some stuff on the well. What have I done since? Because I mean, we could just throw this in there, and I could just wipe it with a clean slate. Because I mean, it hasn't been that much, honestly.
Real quick, my other rewatch is Tim and Eric's $1 billion movie, which is on Amazon Prime right now. I recommend it. You should check it out. There's at least some bits that you would enjoy. And
Okay.
that's all of my rewatches. My only lone new watch, first timer for me, a blind spot I am very happy I corrected. Wong Kar Wai's In the Mood for Love from 2000, I believe, or 2001. It's available on HBO Max right now. Um, it's a fucking masterpiece, dog. I don't know why it took me this long to watch it. It's incredible. Great movie, In the Mood for Love. Don't want to tell you anything about it other than you should check it out.
Okay.
Very, very good. Go ahead.
Oh no. Well, I told you earlier I watched Bad Trip, so we can talk about that at length later. We don't have to worry. We'll run into that now. Um,
Okay.
I've been watching. The other thing I have that's new that I finished completely is Them. I finished all that in a couple days.
And you seem pretty positive on it. I had heard a lot of mixed internet reaction, which only counts for so much, of course, but I was hesitant to dive
Mm-hmm.
in. So what are you thinking? What are your thoughts?
I I was explaining this to Mike Allen because he had on his Snapchat that he was going to watch it, and I was like, it's basically like the trauma of dealing with trauma of race relations in the 40s and post-war America, um, but not in the South, out west. It wants to be Get Out, but it doesn't want you to know it wants to be Get Out and
Mhm.
them and us. Like it wants to be Jordan Peele, but it doesn't want to tell you that it wants to be that way. But in doing all that, still manages to pull off just there's so many things in there are like, okay, but is it really this? Or like, is this just trauma manifesting itself? Is this situation as it is face value just that terrible that this is what happens? Or is there some inherited supernatural issue? Or is this just some what is this? It's
That's
and I
that's
think that might be people's problem is because it's
that's the
not
crux of the discourse I've heard is pretty much that it feels like trauma for trauma's sake. And that was going to be my follow-up question is how would you rate the entertainment level compared to something like Lovecraft Country, which I feel like went off in some wild, crazy directions and like touched on a lot of like really tough issues, but never lost sight of being just a fucking flat out entertaining show every single episode.
I
Not that we have to directly compare the two, but they're both dealing with race relations and they are both ostensibly horror shows, correct?
this is I mean, yes, I would maybe yeah, I mean, yeah, you could say this
Or
is
is this more of a drama?
it's definitely got the horror theme. I wouldn't go horror, I would go more like thriller, terror,
Mm-hmm.
much
Okay.
out horror. But I can see the argument of okay, does it may lose sight of what it is, but I also feel like it's just I don't think anything is at the same time. I don't think anything is played up to an an unrealistic level. It doesn't seem like it does anything just to do it or just to be like, hey, we should do this, or oh no, that's how it was, so we can get away with this. I feel like for what it is, it solely survives for me by the performances of the mother and father characters. The children are
Mm-hmm.
great in it. Don't get me wrong, you know, and where everybody goes. And there's a particular scene later on in it where I had to catch myself and realize, oh wait a minute, no, he's not. He's thinking this. This isn't actually happening. Um, but one of the scariest things, which I don't know how this makes me sound, but there is a I don't want to spoil it too much, but essentially everybody has their own little thing and you get to like develop that with them. But for the father character, who is a World War II veteran, his character, his thing is a blackface actor. And
Mm-hmm.
the way that that actor portrays, I don't know if that's him or if it's another actor. Like, I don't know how, because some of it is manifestations of themselves, some of it is different people. But the way that the makeup and the way that they like the actions of that like character of this person in blackface, I don't, he does have, the character does have a name, but I can't remember what he tells him his name is. It is just so unsettling to
Mm-hmm.
watch. Not on a, not even from like a, history of what that means, like that, how, where it came from and what it does, and just watching it in the hindsight of like history and what blackface was. Just the way that the character looks is menacing. It's
Right.
like it's like up there with, to me, it's up there with like Tim Curry Pennywise, menacing to me, just the way it looks. I'm like, this is,
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little scared, but I also want to, I can't take my eyes off this thing because I don't know what it's going to do next in terms of like physically, but also like what it may tell me about what insight I can gain from why exactly the father figure, this main character, is having this experience with this thing in blackface. But again, it lives by the performances of the lead two actresses. I thought the actor and actress who played the mother and father, I thought they were great.
All right.
I would recommend it. Some of the latter subject matter is a little rough when it has nothing to do with race. It's just rough in general.
Right.
I mean, race obviously is a part of it, but aside from that, it is just a little rough. I wouldn't recommend it for everybody. But if you can get past that sort of thing, then and you can
So
understand.
proceed with caution to Amazon
Yes, definitely.
Prime's them. Alrighty.
Right.
Okay. Uh, you got anything else there, brother?
Um, no, I mean, just, here and there, a few episodes of Joe Kenda, a few episodes of My 600 Pound Life, and Handmaid's Tale. That's about it.
I finished Can't Get You Out of My Head, the Adam Curtis documentary that I was talking to you about a little while
Oh,
ago.
yeah, yeah.
It's available on YouTube. Definitely worth the 8.5 hour time investment. Finally started Mighty Ducks Game Changers.
What'd you think of the first two?
I have only watched the first one so far.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
I'm loving it. It's
Good.
good. It's entertaining. It's well done.
Yeah, I've been waiting for them to build. I watched the first two. I'm waiting for them to build up a couple. I think I missed. I haven't seen 3 and 4 yet. So
But yeah, they're doing a good job. I'm
yeah.
liking it. More on that later.
Okay, good.
And I'm still enjoying Banshee. Haven't gotten to a new episode in a while, but I'm still working on it.
What was the last thing you watched? What was the last thing that was happening in Banshee when you watched it?
I think I watched one episode after the one that I told you about, which I'm still like midway through season two. I'm gonna have to like remind myself where I was at.
Okay. So
I'll
you
finish it. I will finish it. I
it's just
promise you.
I mean, I want you to, but also I just love the idea that like dad has seen something you haven't
Yeah.
way through. Now I know he
Well,
can do,
I'm letting him enjoy it and get his
yeah,
kicks while he can, and
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, don't start coming at him with like big questions about like what do you think about this performance and that who did what or whatever. Don't
Well, I
give him
mean, personally, that's kind of the thing I love about Banshee is like there are no deep themes. there
nope.
is no there is no second layer to this. It is pure pulp entertainment and
Yes.
plot. And every once in a while, I like a show that is just that. That
Mm-hmm.
doesn't is not asking me to think on any kind of deeper level or investigate the themes, if you will. Because there are
Right.
no
Whether
themes. There are no themes in that
oh
show.
no, I mean you have you know it is. It's not that there's themes. It's just there's tropes. That's
Yes.
what it is. It's a trope show. There's the mistaken identity, the constant running of oh well they find out who he really is. There's the action, the
Yeah, I
obligatory
mean, if you
all
want to
that.
get deep, there's the duality of man and like what separates, a criminal
Cop from
from
criminal. Yeah,
cops
of
from
course.
criminals. There's all of that, but I'm like, but really, it's a show about how many people can he beat the shit out of, and how many people can he have sex with in each episode.
Right.
How many women will Lucas Hood burn through in this town? How does he
And the
continue
answer
to
is
find
all of
more and
them.
more? Yes. Uh,
The
but yeah,
the sequel series was going to be called Whose Banshee Is It? And it was just going to be all about the women he impregnated.
well, I heard that's why he was like, I can't do season five. I can't. I
I
just I've got nothing left. I'm spent.
yeah,
I gotta go
yeah.
play Homelander. Sorry, I gotta go play impotent now. Basically,
Yeah.
like instead, I gotta go the exact
But
opposite direction.
instead of every woman, it's just the only woman that matters, and that's Carl Urban's wife. And so at the end of the
Yeah.
day, you know,
Well, and let's not forget about Elizabeth Shue.
yeah, that's true.
Okay.
Not
Anyways,
herself. Yeah.
uh, so yeah, we'll get back with you guys after the Oscars, and of
Yes.
course, we will be back fairly soon with this month's 2x2 retro review. It is happening.
Yes.
Super Mario Brothers and Michael Clayton. So it's going to
Hmm.
be an interesting pairing and one I'm looking forward to. And then shortly after that, we'll have our big crossover episode, Rocky and the Karate Kid, with the old brothers Blanchard. And from what I hear in that same episode, or separated out probably into a separate conversation, we will be wrapping up the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Okay.
So look forward to that, everybody. And
I I'm
go ahead.
getting vaccinated again tomorrow. So
This is your second dose.
yes, round two. Anytime after tomorrow. Well, no. Well, it is technically Monday. It's happening Tuesday, so yeah, tomorrow morning. But anytime after tomorrow night, Tuesday night, anytime after that, I'm game to do the retro rewatch. And if this turns out okay and we don't sound terrible, if you just want to do it over here, you don't have to deal with this little dog that's ruffling around on her little thing back behind me. If you can see that, if that doesn't come through and
It's
the
not
sound,
bothering me. Not bothering me,
okay,
bro.
okay, good. But if it all sounds good and you think it will work, we can do it over Zoom, or if you want me to ride down, it doesn't matter. I'm always down for a trip down to good old Charleston, South Carolina.
All right.
So
Well, we'll figure that out soon. But
all right, that'll work.
for now, we're gonna sign off. I've been Noah.
And I've been Gavin.
We've been the Blanchard brothers, and you've been listening to what we've been watching and
What we think is going to win at the Oscars.
yeah, what we were predicting. So until next time, have have a day, have a good time.
And don't have acid.
Sure.